Okay, here we have three pieces of wood, 4" by 3" by about 3/4 of an inch. And what I'm going to do is I'm using a stacked heel on this build. Now the heel goes on the neck, and it's where the guitar connects to the body, and where the dovetail will be cut out on the neck blank. And so what I have to do is I need to flatten both sides of these blocks of wood. They look flat, but they are not. I need to flatten them because I'm going to glue them together instead of using one piece of wood to make the heel. If you notice, the neck of my guitar is in several different pieces. It has a scarfed headstock. It has a piece of cherry down the center, so that it's a 3-piece blank in that way. And now we have a stacked heel. A lot of the reason that I did this was for strength, but also this conserves wood. Now you see it's coming flat. But this is how you conserve wood. And the thing of it is I'm a guitar builder and a guitar player and a woodworker. And if I can conserve wood in any kind of way, I certainly will, because I want it to be around for a long, long time, well past my lifetime. I want people to still be making instruments with beautiful woods. And this is a common practice in a lot of factories. It's a common practice among certain builders, and it's one that I share. So that's what we're doing here. And I've just marked hash marks like I always do, and I'm using a flat sanding board to flatten everything. You can see the progress as I go. And I think this is 1/20. So now we have the blocks, and I'm going to use these clamps sort of like a frame to glue these blocks together. And I'll set one in like this. And then I'll put some glue on the one that is going to join to it. I had to go get a spreader stick. And just spread the glue evenly so that it covers the entire surface. And make sure you have enough glue to cover it all, but that you can see the wood a bit through the coating of glue. That's about the perfect amount of glue. And then I'll just slide it in here and line it up as best I can. I'm using this frame to try to line these up as best I can with each other. It won't be perfect, but as long as I get it really close, it doesn't matter. Most of this will be cut or carved away anyway. And with these three pieces of wood and the thickness of the neck blank itself, I'll have a heel thickness or heel height, or however you want to put it, of about 3¼ inches, which is about the depth of my body at the heel. Depending on what it looks like and how I feel like, I may put a little wooden cap on the bottom of the heel from like matching wood of the headstock or the fretboard or the bridge or something like that. Or I might do something completely different. I don't know yet. And now it's just fiddling around with the clamps and trying to get everything to stay fairly well positioned together so that everything's not sliding around and it ends up looking like a block of wood. And I'm getting good squeeze out of the glue. Got glue on my board, but that's alright. It can be cleaned off. And now I want to clean up as much glue squeeze out as I possibly can before it dries. First I'm going to put another clamp on it. Another couple actually. It might seem like I'm using a lot of clamps, but you really want to make sure that they're clamped down good all around the edges, in the center, all of that, so that it's a good solid join. And when you go cutting on it, carving on it, stuff like that, you don't get gaps, cavities, air pockets, all kind of stuff like that. It needs to be one solid piece of wood. Now, I'm going to take this heel block, after it's had a day to dry, I'm going to put it on the end of the blank, the neck blank. Now most people make these, and they make the whole blank up first, and then they taper the neck blank and all of that with the heel on it. But my jig that I use for routing the truss rod slot is actually made for electric guitars and not acoustics. And electric guitars necks do not have that heel on them if you're doing like a bolt-on neck blank. So I chose to route the truss rod first, taper the neck blank and all of that before I did this part. And now you see I'm flattening the underside of the neck blank because I want this just as flat as those blocks were, so that I get a beautiful join as tight as I can possibly get. And once again, I'm alternating directions, that kind of thing, trying to keep an even pressure on it. Because I'm not, and here I am checking what it looks like. I'm not really trying to dig a groove into that blank. Where I'm sanding, the difference between where I'm sanding and where I'm not sanding on it. I just want that particular surface nice and smooth and flat so that I can glue to it. And I'll flip this board over and use it as a work surface. glue time again. And I'm just using this old paint stir. You can use scraps of wood, an old debit card, all kinds of things, and your fingers. You'll see that I use them as well. And I'm putting it on both surfaces here because I really want to make sure that this joint is glued solid. But now that's going to make the thing move around, so I have to play with it. I didn't show all of that. But now we're going to start with the clamping. Once again, as many clamps as I can get on here. And I'm going around making sure everything's good and tight, tightening them down a little more. And now you see, again, cleaning the squeeze out. And a lot of times a sharp piece of wood, the corner of a square piece of wood, anything you can get will help you to scrape the glue up. There are guys that even have like glue chisels that they use just to scrape. They're not very sharp. They're just made to scrape the squeeze out up. And that's the finished glue up, and I will let this set until I can get back to it. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you later.